Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show on Pursuit Channel and Wild TV. You are now tuned into our weekly podcast hosted by executive producer Kyle Green, production coordinator Jeff Hutchinson, director AJ Beadle, and creative producer Ryan Parks. We live in a world where our natural resources are almost solely protected by funds raised by hunters and fishermen, with over 60% of those funds coming from white males over the age of 55. The Greenway Outdoors team has set out on a mission to create content that would inspire millennials, Generation Z, and new sportsmen and women to get out, hunt, fish, and contribute towards conservation and the betterment of our planet. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. Hello and welcome to episode 24 of the Greenway Outdoors podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Jeff.
AJ.
Insufferable.
Insufferable AJ.
Hey, at least he didn't wear a hat.
I was gonna.
Good
I couldn't
God.
find it though.
Make sure you guys jump into the fourth topic right now. That'd be great. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm on the 10th topic.
I like how every episode starts off with me saying the episode number, and then I say, I'm Kyle, and then as Jeff's saying Jeff, you always hear AJ go, wow, 24, whatever number it is. Like when it was 10, he's like, the big 1-0.
Big 1-0.
X. And then Ryan just doesn't say his name.
Oh, I'm Ryan.
Nice to meet you, Ryan.
Glad we got that out of the way. Now we can finally get started.
Nice to meet you.
The episode of the Greenway Outdoors on Pursuit Channel for this week is the kids fishing episode, and we're targeting pike through the ice while ice fishing. And we've got a sizzle reel for you for a little preview for that we're going to go ahead and roll right now. You know, I wasn't going to use that song for the sizzle reel, but AJ demanded it. He's
I like that one.
I did. Did you actually like that?
Yeah.
He would.
I think it fits well with the kids being there.
I was like-
It's relaxed.
When I was searching like our database of music that we're allowed to use legally, I'm going through it and I was like, kids being cute, kids having fun, and I like doing searches like that. And that song did fit.
Show tunes?
Yeah.
We had my 6-year-old niece Lily and her sidekick Vivian, 2 6-year-old girls out fishing for the first time on hard water. What?
Vivian is 7. Thank you very much.
Vivian 7?
Yeah. Is she older than? I thought she was 1 year older than.
She's 1 year younger. She barely just turned 6.
Oh, so maybe she's 5 then.
Not only that, I've got
Good
details.
job, Jeff.
Yeah, that was hard to watch. Lily's birthday.
Jumped the gun on that.
Lily just turned 7.
Oh,
Nice.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when it was,
Hey, you know what? When you get a kid's age wrong, they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're totally forgetting the half, okay?
that is true. Like,
It's important. It's like a fifth of their life is that half.
and then once you get like
Sure.
25, then you try not to talk about it.
Oh, another year, really? Oh, great. Thanks for bringing it up.
Because I know Ryan's still really excited about his 20th birthday. He's like counting down
Yeah.
the
Oh,
days.
yeah, it's
too.
coming up.
I forget how old I am sometimes. I'm like,
We all forget how old you are because we're all older than you, and it just doesn't see.
you
You
guys
just
are all
blend in.
You're 10 years older than me.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Half the time
That's
you're
a big
the
gap.
you're the voice of reason half the time, which is terrifying. What does that say about us?
Except the other day when you decided that if we ever got killed, it'd be because of me.
No.
That's-
That's not what I said.
No.
What I said was, no, Jeffrey brought it up. He said, if anyone on the show was to be killed because it was thought out
Like
by somebody,
premeditated murder because we hunt or whatever, it's going to be Kyle because he's the loudest.
Okay.
If it's spur of the moment and we're traveling and someone's going to murder us, it's you because you yell at people who you should not yell
I
at
see.
for no reason. Hey, big guy who could probably punch my head off. Why don't you just walk right behind our truck? That's cool. Go right ahead.
there was a
Look at
there's
the dog
like
you're walking with. That's his wife.
we're we're in
wouldn't surprise
we're
me.
in Miami because Jeffrey did the thing where he tells a story that no one understands. We're in
The 4 of us get it.
yeah, who cares about other people, like the listeners, the people that matter. But there was a guy that walked behind the car and like stopped.
guy.
We were backing up, and he hurried up and walked behind us like in a really weird way for no reason.
One of those really big guys with like a pink tank top on.
Yep.
He's like,
he's
Chihuahua.
wearing pink and you don't say anything about it.
He's the biggest human I've ever seen. So Ryan rolls down the window and yells, "Yeah, go ahead and walk right behind us." I go, What are you doing? What are you out here doing?
You got
we
pretty
just saw a
upset.
fight between two homeless people in front of this Walmart
we
at
did.
10 o'clock. Why now are you picking fights with people that could take
Oh,
the
it was at that Walmart. That's right.
Yeah, I videoed it, remember? I was the guy that you see. They were fighting the homeless people.
Oh, yeah.
They were fighting. I don't know what about. Turf, I assume?
Yeah.
They're bringing back bonfires.
This is my begging spot. That's what they were saying.
As we digress
Back in
Far
sport.
away.
in such a weird way. Back to kids fishing.
That started at kids' age.
That did.
So Lily and Vivian were out fishing with us, and they did really spectacular. They were awesome out on the ice, but the episode itself is probably the cutest jumble of
Emotion.
that we've ever put into an episode. It was adorable, and they did a good job, and it's funny. It's one of the funnier ones. And I was talking to my family, different people, about like ranking like out of the 10 episodes we aired this season, because a lot of people watch it. You can see the show at Tuesday mornings as well, so they'd already seen that one. How would you rank them? And it's funny because some people rank this episode first, even though from a production standpoint I'd be like, you're nuts, because you got bear, you got python from an action aspect, you got the ice fishing one, which I think is the best.
So it was a jumble. You're all over the place. You're not just sitting still. It's harder to get a storyline in just because there's so much happening in little kids, and how do you... Their conversations alone are crazy.
Editing it forced me, those conversations forced me to be jumpier than I would approve of typically.
It turned out good though. When we started filming, I think me and AJ both were pretty worried about
We were a little apprehensive.
how it was gonna go.
We didn't know.
But the final product came out really good. I really liked it.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty good. But hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So check it out on Pursuit Channel, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And no, that's not the same thing, because everyone goes, well, isn't that the same thing? I go, no, because it's 3 hours behind. It would be Pacific Standard Time. So actually
Who doesn't
like
understand that?
7
Yeah.
people.
Really?
Yeah, and in emails...
So here that would be 1 a.m.
Correct. So if you miss it, set your DVR for 1 a.m. if you're in Eastern Time Zone, or just check it out at 7 p.m. like a normal person.
There you go.
So in Montana, a teenager fights a charging grizzly bear, but somehow manages to walk away. So here's essentially the story. The guy's walking down a path, minding his own business, and grizzly bear, he heard something behind him, and then next thing he knew, he was slammed up against a tree. And that's some video footage there of grizzly bear.
That's a piece of his body he's biting right now.
Yeah. It's weird that he looks like a fish, but that's just his normal skin tone.
Yeah.
He had fish leg. What?
So anyhow, yeah, you just look at the power of those grizzly bears, though. It's ridiculous. But anyhow, the interesting thing about it was this. Essentially, I know I got to do it every time. Essentially, this grizzly bear hits the kid up against a tree, and the next thing you know is he's face planted, and the bear's got him pinned face first in the ground, like a good old-fashioned whitewash, except it's a mud wash, and it's a bear.
Where are you going with this?
And somehow he was able to reach back on his back into his backpack, pull out bear spray.
I would assume it had to have been clipped.
Nope.
Or in the cup holder.
That's what it said. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Pulled out the bear spray, sprayed the bear in the face. It messed the bear up enough that the bear left and fled. Now, I hear this story, and I hear a lot of stories like that. And when I hear that one, kid had no injuries from what I could, in any of the articles I looked up. He didn't have any injuries, nothing. He's good.
I heard scrapes and bruises, but minimal.
You assume at least.
Which is nuts, even that.
Well, that you could fall. So here's my thing. This is all over the news and it's public and no one has said this, but I don't think it's true.
Nice.
Yeah, I just like when you think about that. You got that, and that's why I showed the footage. That those giant grizzly bears, okay, they are monsters. You ever seen like the way they walk, the muscle tone, they're just huge.
Swagger.
Yeah, they do have a swagger about them.
They do.
And if it was a teen, you would assume that he would have, like, after it happened, he would have jumped on his phone and either been like, I was just attacked by a bear, or like snapped it or something.
He
Because
may
that
have,
one
for
guy
all I
that
know.
got mauled, he was
like missing an eye and
but
stuff.
he still did the same thing. So like you would assume that the teenager would have done that.
And the bear slammed him up against a tree and then slammed him down on the ground, face down.
And
Your
then-
face is going to be messed up. Something is going to be.
That's
how
not
heavy is-
what got me. What got me was while a bear was on top of him, holding him face down, pinned, he was able to reach his arm back. You ever wrestle with a dog? Because they're very similar. Like their mannerisms remind me of dogs. If a dog was on your back and you started reaching back with your hand, he's got your paws there and he sees your hand going back like this. That's something. First thing, you grab him. He would grab it. He would grab that hand. He would, if you were reaching back in your backpack to grab something out, I feel like you.
I mean, your range of motion is like, is like
whatever.
Yeah.
He's on top of him. Yeah. Whatever it is or wherever it is. If he sees the arm, I mean, the arm is such a thing to grab, right?
Is bear spray a thing?
Yes. Yeah. Bear spray. Yeah, it's very common.
Strong mace, I think.
It's like pepper spray.
Yeah.
One of the comments on the article that made me laugh was someone said, whoever comes up with a quick draw bear spray, they'll make a ton of money because all the bear sprays, like, they're tucked away or this or that, but if you had it like, like Clint Eastwood.
That's how when we were out in Idaho, we had some, and that's like it came with like a holster, like that you just put on your belt, so it was like.
Okay, then somebody's rich already, Ryan.
someone is rich.
But that comment made me laugh because it's like when you see the necessity of things. So anyhow, I hate to call someone out and be like, oh, there definitely didn't happen because we don't know that that's the case. I'm just saying that it's a proven fact that people don't remember memories, they remember remembering it.
Yeah. Anytime you recall something, that's what you're remembering is your last memory of it.
Right.
So it gets altered.
Right, and that happens. So that was my thoughts on it. I just I don't know. I don't want to say that he's a liar. I don't say it's like I don't think that's the correct story on how things shook out.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like
my not trusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird.
Don't buy everything you hear. Lesson learned.
And not to mention, like, if you've ever seen a grizzly bear, I think that would lend to why you would think that's the case.
Could have been a small one.
I don't know what it was, but
don't they weigh like 1,000 pounds? I mean, how heavy is the one that? That's a smaller one, isn't it?
To be honest with you, the 250 plus pound black bear that I shot would have destroyed us.
Well, think about like a house cat. If one of those wanted to fight you, it'd still mess you up.
That's true.
Look at the guy that fought the mountain lion.
Yeah.
That was, what, a 55, 60-pound mountain lion or something like that? The one guy.
The one who choked it out or something
The one
like
that,
that?
Yeah. And he looked like he went through some stuff.
Yeah.
So this kid came out and like said it happened and made a big deal about it, and news was obviously making articles about it. And stuff
and then like there's no proof of it. So the DNR people were like, well, it sounds like no. They were that's what I mean. I think I'm the only skeptic. I was reading it. It's like no one thinks this.
Yep.
They're like, well, it sounds like it was a male based on the behavior and this and that. And like the other thing is these are all news articles. So the news isn't going out there to try and debunk a story. They don't care about the truth.
That's true.
They're just hyping it up as much as they can.
Yeah, can you imagine like Roop Raj going out there and be like, wait a minute, I don't know. I'm not buying what you're selling. No, they just want it on camera. You know what I mean? So speaking of the DNR and other news stories, a couple weeks ago we covered the story on that lynx that was recovered in Sanilac County, which is up in the Thumb. And basically it was eating a bunch of domestic geese and ducks from a farmer, and he was complaining about it. He brought out a trapper. Trappers trapped it. Turns out it was a lynx, and they're like, why is this here? What is this? It was the first one found in the Lower Peninsula in forever, 100 years or something like that. And they weren't sure if it was a pet. They weren't sure what it was. They ended up sending it to a couple different places, but it ended up at the zoo, and they were doing tests on it. Well, here's the story. It turns out it was a wildcat. It was less than a year old. It was a female, and basically they nursed it back to health, to full health, but it gained about a pound. They fed it like rabbits and stuff like that and gave it, like, just took care of it and raised it, got its strength back up and everything like that. And then they took it up to the UP, where it's more of its natural habitat where it should be, because that's the type of habitat that they're in. So they took them up to the UP, where it's a lot colder and there's more prey and different things. Yeah. And they released it. So we actually have a video of them releasing it, which is kind of cool because it's actually just a big cat. So we'll go ahead and roll that. So this is the guys from the DNR right there. And he's like sitting there. He's kind of cute.
Rabbit for the road, guys?
He's about, by the way, he was even less than a year old. He was 4 foot long and about 18 pounds.
Oh, 4 feet long?
4 feet long, about 18 pounds. So at first it was just reluctant. It's like, well, these people feed me. They're all nice.
Well, I mean, this cat's been on the ride of a lifetime the past 2 months, 3 months, or however long it's been.
Look, he's slowly exploring.
You sure?
He just turns on those guys and just holds them.
You got okay, Brad. You sure you want me to leave?
Brad.
Brad.
There you go.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it is kind of neat. I like.
That's pretty cool.
I like seeing that and seeing them get away. So that was a good job by the DNR and how they handled the whole situation. And there's another Lynx out there.
Better in the wild
It's
than
going to
zoo.
affect that cat though.
I got 2 questions similar to that. Question 1 is how it affects the cat with like, is it not scared of humans now?
Yeah.
Like
now
at all.
It sees us as a source of food.
It wasn't scared of humans before because the whole reason why they thought something was wrong with it was because he's eating domestic ducks and geese, and the guy would walk right up to it and was like, "Stop!" Like it didn't care. So
I just ate
There
that.
must be something wrong with the deer in my backyard then, because
they do the same
I
thing.
have everything but pet them.
Everything.
Everything?
No, I'm just kidding.
Jeff, keep it to yourself.
Yeah. Wow. We go such a dark road. They're like, wow, this is a great show. It's real wholesome and real nice. Oh, my gosh. So, they ended up releasing him, and the cat went out. Number 2, besides the fact of how it'll affect the cat, what's its chance of survival? And also, the fact that they found a female that they determined was wild, that was there, it was less than a year old. Something made that female that was less than a year old, more than a year ago, depending on, I don't know what their incubation process is. We'll make the 9-month joke, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, is there more in Sanilac County? What was the story?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Where did it come from?
The thing that I don't get is they transported it 400 miles north.
Well, to the UP, because that's where it will have the best chance of survival because that's its best habitat.
Yeah, okay.
What do you
What's your
confused
theory?
about it?
Do you think they should?
That seems like a long distance to move something that.
He did get car sick. They said Jeff's right. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe it wasn't a thing.
They brought it to a healthier place for that animal. which
Yeah.
I'm glad they did that and didn't take it to the zoo, do the test, and keep it there and put it on display.
Well, we thought the first thing as soon as I told you that went to the zoo, you panicked,
Yeah,
and
I
I did
didn't like
too.
that.
Yeah,
What?
but and now if it was sick and couldn't survive on its own, then great.
Yes.
That's a zoo animal. Perfect.
Yeah.
Give it a good life. But it's a wild animal.
Right.
But who made it? You know what I mean? And
Probably another Lynx.
the cameras weren't on AJ, so they're gonna think it was AJ who said it, and they're gonna hate AJ for like he made another stupid joke.
Know it all.
But does that mean there's more Lynx in Sanilac County? And the cool thing is we're gonna be up turkey hunting in that area
Maybe we'll see it.
in 17 days, and who knows? Maybe we'll see one.
You counting down or?
My sister is because of the concert.
Oh, gotcha.
So I know that's 16 days, and that's that. We're actually on May 10th. We're going to be walleye fishing with country music superstar Granger Smith,
Yeah.
or Earl Dibbles Jr. I don't know who's going to show up.
If we don't know what
One or the
which,
other.
character.
I was going to say that you never see the two of them together.
But you did.
That's
I
not
thought
true. Now
maybe
you do.
they were the same person, but as it turns out, now he's coming out with videos where they're together and talking. So I don't know if they're just opposite twins or.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Granger Smith has an alter ego called Earl Dibbles Jr., and he's a big country singer. He sings, his biggest hit was Backroad Song. That was the one that went #1, and well, I don't know all the terms, but like triple platinum or whatever those things are. But I really don't know anything about that.
It's album sales.
The only one who does is AJ, and he doesn't care. So, but
He's like, I'm not answering. I'm not helping with this.
we're fishing on May 10th with him, and then we're going to the concert at night, and then the next morning we'll be 3.5 hours from that location hunting turkeys at like 6 a.m. So I don't know if AJ did the math on that yet, but he gonna be cranky. And then we'll be up with Ray for Hot Shot Outfitters, hopefully knocking down some turkeys. So I'm pretty excited about that as well. But that's a pretty cool story about the Lynx, and it's neat how they let them go. We did, speaking of hunting and fishing with celebrities, Steve Rinella, the host of Meat Eater, we did a video, and it was like in January. And the video was essentially about the fact that he was being attacked because he took money, and this is a clip of the video, and as of earlier today, it looks like it's at a little over 43,000 views. And most of those 43,000 views all came over a span of about a week, maybe a week and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, January 23rd.
Yeah, and it was just sitting out there for months without any traction. Then all of a sudden, some people started commenting on it, and it went berserk. And I don't even know what the comments are right now, 103. But on the way here, I had a couple dings on my phone, so I know it's gone up since then too. But essentially, the story was Steve Rinella is a great guy, and he's very pro Second Amendment, never said anything against the Second Amendment. However, he did partner with a guy named Peter Chernin, who put a bunch of money into Meat Eater to help the brand and help it grow. And Peter Chernin also happens to be a big Democrat supporter of people that fight against the Second Amendment and things like that. So the idea was that people were worried that Steve was taking money from an anti-Second Amendment guy.
So they're worried that him taking money from that's going to affect the show and start negatively impacting his views on, maybe he starts doing not necessarily anti-gun, but...
Well, yeah, the idea is if he takes money from the guy and partners with Peter Chernin, then what does that mean for the content? And that doesn't mean anything good whatsoever. So that's not true, though. Steve regained production control. He partnered with this guy because he's a big-time producer, and he invests a lot of money in a lot of different shows, including Fox. He invests into Fox. So just because someone invests into something doesn't mean that manipulates the entire content. And the litany misspelled hate mail that we received because of it was
Misspelled.
super. I know. The funny thing is all the people that said dumb stuff misspelled stuff. That was my favorite. But essentially, people were attacking us, saying that you don't partner with those people. Those people are trying to mess up the Second Amendment. You can't do that. They're going to take your rights. You're all idiots. They really ran off on bragging about what guns they use for hunting, which was cool. I didn't have any problem with. Yeah, I don't know why that was a thing.
It was crazy how much it strayed from what we were talking about in the actual video.
Right.
Like it went. Wait, what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Some people are just waiting for that one thing that's even mildly related to just go off. They get a vent about something, and they're like, "This is kind of related."
It's weird. I don't know how. I've never taken time out of my day to hate on somebody or something like that. It's not worth nothing.
What does Joe Rogan say? You know who doesn't troll people on YouTube and YouTube comments? Michael Jordan. Tiger Woods, the president. Well, actually, our president does. Take that. Well, until then, but that is actually pretty funny. That's not a shot at Trump. That's just funny that he would troll people. I don't think he does on YouTube though.
Not YouTube.
No, but anyhow, people were really upset about it, and they kind of bashed us a lot of it too. But also, we received about 70% praise of people saying, "Yeah, this is a bipartisan issue." Of public lands and protection of public lands. And as far as the Second Amendment goes, Steve regained all production control, and because Meat Eater received more money and because Meat Eater can do more, well, guess what? More people are going to see the good that guns can do, especially when it comes to hunting. And I'm not saying the Second Amendment has anything to do with hunting, because it absolutely 100% totally does not.
Nope.
But showing hunting and fishing content is not going to hurt the Second Amendment, and that is a fact.
So you can hunt with a knife. That
was kind of my thoughts on that one. Ryan, you were watching these numbers trickle up. What were your thoughts on the whole thing? Some of the comments that stuck out to you?
I thought it was really funny in the beginning that some guy had commented that he agrees, but the problem is with the left that they won't listen to things like this. And another guy,
that was a good one. Yeah,
he said,
essentially, I said that we get attacked more from the right and not the left. And the guy's like, well, that's because nobody from the left listens to your podcast. And then another guy was like, I'm from the left, and I listen to their podcast, and I like them.
And then another guy commented on that same... He replied to that comment saying, "It's okay. This only has 800 views. No one watches it anyway."
Right.
Yeah, that was
one of the first ones.
And now as we're talking about now, it's probably around 45,000.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's not huge numbers, but it's a lot more than 800.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Well, it's funny. He commented right away on it.
Yeah.
It's like, give it a couple days.
And then it started gaining traction, and then the comment's gone. He deleted it.
He deleted his comment once he saw
Really?
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely not viral or anything, but it got a lot of traction. It did pretty good, and it raised awareness about our podcast in general. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates over. And good for us defending Steve, because he didn't do nothing wrong. Listen, good luck finding an agent in LA that will get your show that is pro Second Amendment and pro hunting and fishing and pro public lands. Good luck finding an agent that is a Republican in LA that can get you into the right meetings to get you in the right spot.
That's true.
You have to be able to talk to people in order to get content out there that pushes the beliefs that we all share. So there's no reason to turn your nose up at people or be unwilling to negotiate, unwilling to listen, unwilling to talk to, unwilling to work with people that don't share every single view you have. And based on your misspelling comments, my guess is you probably need to read a book.
You guys are so DUM.
And some of the, after what you just said about being able to operate with other people who have differing opinions, some of those comments made me really worried. Like, you must have a really tough life if that's how you live, where you can't talk to someone else who has a different opinion than you.
It's insanity.
Some people were flipping out that, like, I don't know how they operate in this world. Because, I mean, all of us will gladly talk to someone with a different opinion and have a discussion with them. But these other people are like, no, you can't even, don't even acknowledge them.
It doesn't ruin our day, you know?
It was actually kind of funny, a little guilty pleasure. It was crawling up so fast, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 views a day.
I think it got up to 10,000.
And then one day,
wow.
Well, here's why. Because I was like, I wonder if we can get it up more. So I started replying to some of the stupidity, and that they'd reply, and then it would just ramp up the whole thing. It got it going pretty good.
Yeah.
But it was really funny. I was like they'd be like, listen, I appreciate your positivity or your good outlook on your hopes, but these people want our guns at any this and that and everything else.
Man.
I'm not even against believing that they're correct. Like, I don't know what Chernon's deepest, darkest secrets are of what he wants to do with the Second Amendment and this and that, but what I do know is, with Steve holding production control, that
doesn't matter.
This is not the grounds for that battle. No. That's not where the battle isn't being fought there.
Not even.
The battle is being fought over, somewhere else where he's putting his money in the, Democrats and stuff like that. And by listening to Steve and figuring out how you feel about specific issues, you can enlighten yourself and make, good choices. And
be educated.
Right. Imagine that.
Not everything's so black and white.
Right. Except the Second Amendment. Which that's the thing is, I actually do think it's a black and white thing. We absolutely 100% need the Second Amendment. I absolutely will stand for it 100%.
But that's not the issue.
But that's not even what's being talked about. I mean, the fact that he invested money into Meat Eater so that Meat Eater could be successful has nothing to do. If anything, that's a win for the Second Amendment, not a loss. But they turned on him, and for Steve to respond and come out with a public rebuttal, that's so out of character for him. So it was necessary, and it was good. So good job, Steve.
I'm thankful for the people on here that are liking and commenting and subscribing to us, recognizing the fact that this wasn't some sort of attack on the Second Amendment or whatever.
We are very pro Second Amendment.
Yes, we are very pro Second Amendment. I don't know how it got twisted in some people's minds, but I'm glad the majority understood what we were trying to say.
Yeah, especially considering Steve's biggest push is the public lands, which is a bipartisan issue and not worth. I don't even understand.
How are you going to argue against that?
Yeah, even Trump just passed all that new legislation for all that new hunting land that we just talked about last week. Yep. And it was.
Did that go through uncontested?
No, there was like 3 no votes.
Yeah.
But
they hate land.
Yeah.
Nature.
But the funny thing is, Trump liked it, so they had to say no.
Yeah.
But even that became a bipartisan issue when you only got a few votes against it. So it passed at like 96%.
Or they had like a big construction lobby behind them, so they had to.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
Actually, that's probably even more likely. And because of this kind of inspired the social media comment of the week. So social media, we did a stretch with it being a YouTube comment. For whatever reason in these comments, AJ, who we think is the coolest guy ever, is the one that often got attacked. So this comment comes from Anthony. It says,
I did call them idiots, but I called them idiots because they're being stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
So
this was a great vid, but goodness, dude in the beanie. Just okay, sure, actually I do know everything face in the first 10 seconds.
You had smirked at something that he had said. It wasn't even like a politically charged thing.
No.
You were like, yeah, okay. It was
he was doing.
You said
I'm pretty sure
10 seconds in the video, and you said one thing, and AJ's like, And
they're like, jerk. But he said, and the over obvious joke statement. I hope they're not fishing with guns. Ugh. Do better.
That's the best part.
If you're Ryan said that.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
That was Ryan's joke, but the camera wasn't on Ryan when he said it. So that guy was like, That's got to be Beanie Guy for sure. He's the idiot.
Beanie's getting it.
Beanie's getting it.
Beanie.
I like the if you're gonna be the funny, witty guy, you gotta be at least one of the two. Even the host seemed annoyed. I assume I'm the host. I don't
know.
You can tell he's never watched the show before because
And he doesn't know us and our sense of humor.
co-hosted, right? Yeah, but now I wish there was more jokes in that video instead of it being as serious as it was. But that was my favorite social media comment of the week because we all think AJ's the coolest guy ever.
I know, we all...
He like sets the tone for us trying to be cool. So when everyone just started, and this wasn't the only comment, no offense AJ, but you got lambasted a few times.
Oh yeah.
What did the other people? For a guy that
there was one...
didn't speak, all he did was make a smirk, and that was enough for people that hate him. And then he had to eat all of Ryan's dumb jokes.
One guy was just upset that you were wearing a beanie.
Yep.
Another guy thought you
that was my ghost account actually. That was me. The
ghost account.
Yeah. Just in a flannel shirt today.
The guy's like looking for something. She's like, hat, stupid.
What an idiot that guy is. When we come back, a family. Actually, what were you going to say, Ryan?
I was going to say, how do you feel about it, AJ? How are you taking the hate?
Yeah.
I'm taking it with a grain of salt.
He lost sleep.
Because I hate on a lot of people, too, so I'll take it.
He lost so much sleep. I mean, you can tell. He's just so unhappy about it. He cares so much about what YouTube comments are.
I don't know how you can be upset by it. Like, where's your TV show? Like you said. I don't care. I don't care what your opinion is.
That's the thing, though.
Especially that.
When it comes to YouTube, though, we're big on social media like Facebook and Instagram, kind of, but we've never really made that our main platform. We put everything we have into the production of the TV show. We're Nielsen rated. We're well over 100,000 people tune into our actual TV show week in and week out. And that's our goal, is to make that content as good as it can be. Everything else is stuff that we've really been developing over the last 25, 30 weeks. We've been really trying to stretch out into these other things. But when you look at our YouTube, it looks like we're just getting started at life. So these people are like, it's a whole different mindset of like, we're super naive, but they don't realize we've been making an international television show for the last 4 years, and the YouTube is kind of like something we're building up now through new radio media and everything else. But it's funny because that gives a perception of us. Like the guy, this has 800 views. It's like, well, we have 100,000 every single week. And on top of that, this video now has 40,000, so you probably comment a little premature.
You're right. This one only has 800. I'll go and comment on your video next that has 17 views.
That same guy had like 17 views.
One subscriber, and
3 of them were his mom. When we come back, a family finds a pet alive in their attic that had been there since 1982. What? Stay tuned. You're a hunter, and because you hunt, you're the world's greatest conservationist. You're a huntervationist. You do more for wildlife and conservation than anyone. The Sportsman Alliance protects hunters from the animal rights movement. When the Sportsman Alliance gets involved in court cases or legislation, hunters win. Conservation wins. Become a huntervationist today and join the Sportsman Alliance like we did to help protect your rights against the animal rights movement.
Hot Shot Outfitters in Port Hope, Michigan is the destination for whitetail deer, crow, waterfowl, rabbit, predator, and turkey hunts. We have cabins, over 30,000 non-fenced acres, and a passion for delivering fair chase hunts to you and your family. Reserve your hunt at hotshotoutfitters.com today.
When your hands are busy, your mind gets right. When your hands are busy, you can't point fingers and complain that life isn't fair. When your hands are busy, you're serving your family, your friends, and your community. When your hands are busy, you show everyone what you're capable of. The all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
Hello and welcome back to episode 24 of the Greenway Outdoors podcast.
Really, 24?
That's a total AJ move. God, I hate him with his beanie. So,
He's alive.
back in 1982, the Amelia family.
Almeida.
Nope. Nope. I listened to a video.
Did you spell it wrong in this thing? Because you said the M before the L, and clearly the L comes before the M.
I'll be honest, I didn't listen to a video. I just wanted to be right.
I knew that was
Nope,
coming.
I'm right this time, and I know it.
So anyhow, this family, okay, they were doing remodeling on their house in 1982. And they happen to have a tortoise as a pet.
What was the pet's name?
I'm not going to do it.
What'd they say in the video?
Not doing it.
Because what country was this in? It was in some country.
Brazil.
Okay, so that's why all the names are weird. So it's not my fault.
It's not. It's just different, not weird.
It's just
And there go all
Different
our Brazil listeners.
both of
Different
them.
culture.
Both of them.
But they happen to be very beautiful women, and now we're all men again.
They're related to the Almeidas.
Yeah.
Or
What?
What? Yeah, what?
I said the two Brazilian people listen to us are related to the family, so they're going to be offended.
Nice, AJ. I'm
It was
sure
a
the
funny
YouTube,
joke, but
the
then
YouTube
you made
listeners will
him
love it.
explain it, so now it's ruined.
The YouTube listeners are going to love that one.
Yep.
Anyhow, in 1982, they were remodeling their house, and they thought during the remodel, their tortoise probably slipped out the gate because, you know, they're crazy fast. And
Manuela. It was
That's-
a young red-footed tortoise.
okay, well,
Oh,
anyways,
that was the tortoise.
Kyle's telling the story right now, and he's like,
I know he's just banter. Well, this is real life, though. This is exactly my life.
He tells most of the story. I say all the words he can't say, and then we're good.
That's true. We've been doing that
you
since
just
we
have
were
to say it
5.
at an appropriate time.
Yeah, like in the middle of the sentence. So anyhow, he
So
slips
the
out.
tortoise, tell us about the...
Oh my gosh.
Ryan
I'm
killed
ready
him.
to stab him
Right,
just as much
thank
as
you, Ryan. It's nice to have someone as passionate about everything as me and having Ryan ready to stab Jeffrey. So anyhow, they think the tortoise slips out the front gate because they can't find him. He gone. Okay? So then 30 years later, the dad dies. So they're all going up to the attic to actually try and get everything, like unpack it. You know, it's all cluttered up there and stuff, and they got to clean out the house. And one of the kids is taking out a box of old smashed up records. He's taking them to the garbage. The neighbor's out there with him. He's like, hey, are you going to throw that tortoise away too? He's like, what are you talking about? And he looks in there, and lo and behold, I've always wanted to say that. Lo and behold, there's a tortoise in with the records, mixed in with them. Okay? And it's the what is it, red-eared?
Red-footed.
Red-footed figures. I thought a red-eared sunfish, but red-footed tortoise was inside with the records, alive and well.
Just jamming.
It was the pet. It was the pet from 30 years ago, alive and well.
Was it?
No, listen. So the way they figured it out, yeah, it looked the same. So there was a lot of old furniture upstairs in the attic, and because of that, they had termites that were eating the furniture. And because of that, there was enough termites up there that he was able to survive for 30 years eating those termites. But the only thing is, it didn't say source of water.
I was just going to say.
Or
maybe the-
droppings.
Didn't they say that the guy was a hoarder?
Yeah,
He had a lot
yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, and if he's a hoarder, then you never even know
No, yeah.
where the
What's
droppings
even
are.
out there.
Right.
That's very
He could
true.
have had a leak in his roof, and
Yep.
you know.
You've been to my place. I'm not a hoarder, and I don't like people.
No.
I can't. I'm a clean freak. I cannot even
Except for that
imagine.
one closet.
Yeah.
Don't you bring up that one closet.
Just put everything in there. That's what you got to have that closet in order for the
You
rest of the
gotta.
place to be clean.
It's true.
But Ryan's like, you're going down for the closet now, Jeffrey. How dare you do that to Kyle?
What was that about the closet thing? Really? You got to bring that up to everybody?
In front of everyone? In front of AJ, you brought it up. Like AJ. Anyhow, so they think he survived off termites. I would guess that there's probably a leak in the attic or something to lead to that happening.
Yeah.
Or the story's not
something.
true.
No, I think this one's true.
It's a pretty remarkable one.
So
It came off a tree
I think
hugger
it
site, so it was funny for me to use
I
their
want to say
story.
it was just the dad that was living there.
Tree hugger site.
So is it not plausible to say that he liked turtles? So maybe at one point he went and got another turtle, and then no one knew about it, and then he died, and then
Jeffrey,
they found the turtle. And
Can
were
you
like,
not
"Oh my
ruin the
God."
story?
this is a Christmas in May miracle. Wait, is it May yet? It's April still.
April.
Yeah.
This is a Christmas and this is an Easter
This is
miracle.
a Thanksgiving in April. Okay.
And apparently they really thought it's true. They do believe it's true. Now tortoises, they can live like 200 years or something. Some
Yeah,
of
they
them.
can live a crazy long time.
Different kinds of turtles.
And they're
yeah.
super resilient, and they can live in terrible climates. So the fact that this guy had endless amounts of termites, and obviously some source of water, but they don't need as much water as like a human does, and they're pretty resilient. It lands. Maybe he had a window where some light came in. He'd sun himself. I don't know, but
Yeah,
he survived it.
It's insane.
Living the life. He's
pretty
got
cool.
endless
82,
termites,
so that's
a little
40
spa where he
years.
can sunbathe.
What'd you say? I didn't hear anything you said in the beginning.
So he's got it real nice. He's got an endless supply of termites. He's got a nice little sauna, little sunroom.
We don't know that there's a sunroom. We know that there's a hoarder.
No, I was making a joke about one window for some light to come in. What is? What? Do you just not get jokes anymore? What in the world?
Nope.
There was a tanning bed. Why didn't you bring that up until now? There was not a tanning bed.
I don't get your joke. Why don't you explain it?
Explain all jokes from beginning, middle, and end. So I actually thought that was kind of cool. And how neat would it be to like have the tortoise then after you hadn't seen him since '82?
I'd feel really bad.
The tortoise is way older than me. I bet he gets all kinds of love now, though. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They're like, this is what outside is. And he's like, oh, Lord of the light.
I love that. That's funny.
That's my best tortoise joke. What was that book that we used to read? Franklin.
Franklin.
That was
Yeah.
a turtle, though.
Yeah.
Right?
There's also a TV
I think
show.
he was a tortoise.
It was a TV show
It's
for people with
Franklin.
cable. No, that was on PBS, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I liked Franklin. So listen to this story. This is way offshoot, but the other day I was reading at my niece Lily's school, and for her birthday she chose to have me come in and read a book. That camera works too, Ryan, making faces at me. But I was reading the book, and essentially it was a Arthur the Aardvark book. And I loved Arthur books as a kid. They were like my
and the
favorite.
show.
That was on
That's good,
PBS
too.
also.
Yeah, I watched that every week.
It was good.
It was my favorite. I had the tapes.
Nice.
Tapes. You know, there's 2 episodes per tape, and you'd have to rewind them and stuff. Remember that?
Very
Nice.
cool.
Good old
Remember
days.
how you're telling
Ryan's
the
like,
story?
what are you talking about?
I know the
VCR?
He's like, what are tapes?
Cassette?
What's Arthur?
Did you talk along with the video? Or did you actually get through the book?
What? I don't get it. No, I'm just
Are you kidding me?
So anyhow, I'm reading this book, and Laurel brought me to read One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and I go,
No.
Dr. Seuss?
yeah, and I was like, no, I don't want to read this one. She goes, why? I go, I don't want to. No, green eggs and ham. I go, I don't want to read this. She goes, why? I go, because I don't want to repeat myself 100 times to these kids. In the book, it just repeats itself over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I didn't
I
want
do
to
not like
read
it,
it.
yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not reading that. She goes, you want an Arthur book? I'm like, do I?
Yeah, right?
I'm like, I'm waiting to crack one of them suckers
You got
open for a
extras
while.
I can take home?
Yeah, no. So
Quick question. Was it an Arthur book that you think was from our time, or was it like a remastered new Arthur book?
it looked the same as it used to.
Okay.
So it's hard.
Do they still make them?
I don't know. That's why
I
that's my
think they
question.
do.
Do they make
Yeah.
books? Are books still a thing? No, I'm just kidding. So it's the birthday book. So I go in, and essentially the storyline in it is it's Arthur and then Francine both have the same day. They have the same birthday, so the parties are on the same day. They schedule them. They didn't coordinate. So now it's like the boy's gonna go with the girls gonna go with the boys. But anyhow, one of the chicks in the book, I think it was Francine, was like, oh, if we go to the party, we got to play spin the bottle if the boys and girls are both there. And I was like, and I'm reading this to a bunch of 6-year-olds, and I say it the first time I'm reading, I go, and then we can play spin the bottle. And I was like, oh no.
It's like someone messed with the teleprompter.
It's like, who did this to me? And I look up, and my sister's like, and the teacher's like, he like smiled and laughed and stuff. The teacher's probably my age and younger, and she thought it was kind of funny. I was like, who gave me this book? And then I started changing the words in the book from then on out, and then got to the end, and the whole premise of the book at the end was that she got Arthur a present, and if when Arthur opened it, she goes, the only thing is, as soon as you open it, we have to use it. And he's like, okay, and he opens it up, and it's a bottle to play spin the bottle again. So I was like,
Back around?
Yeah. It was they weren't done. They weren't one makeout reference wasn't enough for these 6-year-olds.
13 pages in, it's Arthur's 7th spin. And
Oh God.
that was the whole book. That's all they talked about.
So I was mortified because I started changing the words, and at the end I said they played Yahtzee or something. I panicked and I closed the book real fast. But the girl posted a picture on my Facebook, and the one girl's looking at the book like this, and she's not buying what I'm selling.
I was wondering if any kids were like, I don't know.
No, I think they made out.
I read this one. It was a lot hotter than this last one.
I got water out my nose.
Good.
I read this one.
It was
on the summer reading list, right?
This Arthur book was way sexier than he's saying it now. I mean, what is so that's what I read to 6 and 7-year-olds. So, tip of the week: read children's books before you read them to kids, because apparently there's some hidden snakes out there that are just waiting to mess with you.
That's weird.
Because if it was an older book like from our time, that would make sense because they were a little more.
Not everything's so
lenient.
PC.
Lenient. Yeah,
PC?
than they are now. Yeah,
PG.
PG.
Parental
I was thinking
controlled.
like
No, you weren't.
politically correct.
Oh.
That-
He had
yeah.
he had it backed up. He was ready to go.
But I think PG makes more sense.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Everyone's so sensitive now.
But yeah,
so that's
it's-
what you know.
And then my sister is like subscribing to the fact that she's like, we just didn't pick up on it then because it was, it just didn't matter. It was kind of funny. And like, I remember shows that I would watch having humor in them that only adults would get, like Shrek.
I was just gonna say that.
Like Shrek. Yeah, like Shrek has so many references in it. It's a kid's movie, but there's so many jokes that adults would get in it and kids wouldn't. And I wonder if Arthur, like, that's what Laurel was saying. She's like, I think that's what it is. Yeah. And I was like, well, I certainly don't remember that.
I remember as a kid, like, we'd watch something, my parents would laugh, and I'd laugh with them, and they'd be like, you guys are stupid, wasn't it? This has been boring for the last 15 seconds. I don't know what's going on.
What DW said wasn't even that funny.
TW.
That was the sister in Arthur.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think
good.
They probably do it just
That's
to
a good
make it
one.
less miserable for the parents who are reading the
Yeah.
book to their kids every single night.
Have you
bless
watched
them,
what kids
because-
watch now is
Oh,
the
my
stupidest
God.
stuff. All Lily watches is like videos on how to play with Play-Doh. I'm like, I'd
on
rather
YouTube.
die.
Yeah.
Did you know when we were kids they used to have Play-Doh that had that was edible, but they had to get rid of it because so many stupid kids were eating the regular Play-Doh too?
I wonder where those kids are now. I really do.
Here, hosting a podcast.
I don't know what he is talking about.
I tried it.
Can you explain that to
I
me?
tried it.
This is another really cool story. So this one happened. Her name was Carol.
Nice.
Howarth?
Close enough.
What was her last name? Howarth?
Sure.
Anyhow, she drove a Mitsubishi in Harvardford West, Wales.
Nice.
Yep, I said that right. Wales to
Yeah.
do some shopping. When the mayhem would ensue. So here's what happened. She's driving down, and she went shopping, and for whatever reason, a swarm of bees was following her car down the street. And they attached, you can see it right there. There's a bunch of bees banging on her window trying to get in. And she's driving, that's her on the road, and they're following her everywhere she goes. Okay?
She bought some honey, and these bees have finally had enough.
That is insane.
We don't work for you. I don't live my 2 weeks of life to work for you.
2 weeks.
My favorite thing was talking about is like, I think it was Joe Rogan that talked about it. I want to quote whoever it was correctly, but they were talking about like, well, how dare you? Do you really think it's right that those bees work their whole lives to make that honey and then you just take it and eat it and stuff like that and that they like work for you? He's like, well, it's not like I pulled them out of like another job. Like this one was going to be a lawyer and this one was they were going to make honey no
that's
matter
what.
what.
They're gonna do.
They were going to
And
make
they
honey
still
no
have
matter
enough
what.
for themselves. I'm just taking the extra. And have you ever had honey? It's delicious.
It's delicious.
Someone
Honey.
actually said that?
Yeah, and I just thought that
That's
was
a good point to make. Like,
super-
sorry, you can't be a lawyer. Like,
Yeah. We ruined his little bee life and then enslaved him into making our honey. But anyhow,
that is his whole existence, is to do that.
so about 20,000 of these bees
Wow.
end up following it. Now she drives through town. A dude noticed, and he's like, "That ain't right."
You got bees on your car.
Hey, lady, you got bees in your car. So he worries about it
What a sentence.
because he happens to be a beekeeper or know beekeepers, and he's worried that this is going to end bad for the bees or the idiot who gets too close to them bees. So he ends up communicating with her, and she ends up calling those beekeepers to come out and check out the situation. So they check out the situation. Turns out the queen got in the car The queen bee, by the way. By the way.
Yeah.
Not Nicki Minaj. No, I'm just kidding. What? Why is Nicki Minaj the
I think you mean Beyonce.
So anyway, the queen got in the car, probably looking for something sweet, whatever it might have been. You know, she had a sucker laying out or something like that.
Yeah, slushy.
Slushy, whatever it was. She got in the car, and because of that, they were all trying to rescue her. So they followed her driving like it was something like 10 or 15 kilometers home. They found her again, lined back up again, trying to rescue the bee. Beekeeper comes in, was able to get everybody, all the bees out, including the queen, unharmed, and it ended up being like a pretty good situation.
That's
Which
cool.
they were right. You know, they're all swarming. They don't just swarm for
I've
nothing.
never
If they're
heard of anything
swarming,
like
there's
that.
a problem. And
Right.
You got to stay away from them.
Especially bumblebees.
Yeah.
Like wasps are just jerks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, bees will swarm like that. Like sometimes they'll decide to move hives, and it's like a cloud just zooming through the air, and they'll all move to a different place.
like timberdoodle at sunset.
Yeah, I guess, except they don't really run in packs like that.
Well, you see, I saw hundreds of them one time in Mesick. Hundreds of timberdoodle. Hundreds.
In one spot.
Hundreds. Like, they look like bats.
Like a school of
It was bats.
timberdoodle.
It was bats. No, legit. Legit. Ask Pete. It was Pete and I together. Hundreds. Next day, we went out and clobbered them.
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Because
Hundreds.
I've done a lot of woodcock hunting, and I've never
At
heard
night?
of that.
Yeah.
Not at night.
Not only did I see it, I've also read a dozen or more articles where they saw the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's,
When is there? Don't they have like
I'll
some?
have to read up.
your
about
dad's
that.
pulling out his hair right now
I
listening
know,
to
he's
this.
like, this idiot.
No, it's true. It's true.
All the YouTube comments were true.
I just wish I could see that many grouse because then maybe I could hit one.
I like woodcock better.
You like the eating of woodcock better?
I like the pursuit and the eating better.
I do not. I like grouse. Grouse tastes like chicken and butter-headed baby.
With Parmesan cheese.
And they got together.
When you had
I'm just kidding. That was a Pineapple Express joke for anybody who got it. Thank you so much for tuning into the Greenway Outdoors. What we're going to do now is we're going to air our pike cooking segment from the kids fishing that we talked about. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube page. If you are watching or listening to this podcast on iTunes or Google Play or anything else, hey,
Don't
why
be
not
dumb.
download the NRM...
DUM.
Go ahead, guys. Download the New Radio Media Streams app, and you can actually watch it live while it's going on and actually see everything and interact with us right while we're doing it. We also put it up on our YouTube afterwards, or you can find all of our old episodes on the New Radio Media app as well. But make sure you're watching it because there's a lot more to it. We're showing a lot of B-roll, a lot of footage. I think it's a lot cooler that way. Like I said, we're very active on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Love to hear from you on episodes you'd like to see from the actual TV show or topics you'd like us to cover on the podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.
Yeah.
For today's recipe, we're going to be cooking baked northern pike over tomato sauce. For step-by-step directions for this recipe and many others, visit thegreenwayoutdoors.com. Hello and welcome to the Greenway Outdoors Kitchen. Today, we're going to be cooking up those beautiful northern pike you saw us catch through the ice. This recipe is actually a baked northern pike with tomato sauce. There's bacon involved, so you know it's going to be good. Let's get started. Start by coating the aluminum foil in your baking sheet with olive oil. Pan your fillets and then coat them in olive oil as well. Next, you'll cook up your bacon in a frying pan. You'll want to make sure that you cook it extra crispy. After your bacon's done, reduce the heat to low and add olive oil, just to make sure the bacon fat and olive oil completely cover the bottom of the pan. Then add your onion, carrot, celery, parsley, and stir until it's well combined. You'll stir the vegetables occasionally, adding olive oil if the pan seems dry, until the veggies have browned and caramelized. It'll take about 30 to 40 minutes. Once that's ready, add your can of tomatoes without draining it. Break up the tomatoes with a wooden spoon in the pan. Bring to a simmer, then add the rosemary and thyme, and then lastly, crumble in the previously cooked bacon. Leave simmering uncovered for about 15 minutes. You're looking for a thin layer of liquid on the bottom of the pan. Add your salt, pepper, rosemary, and thyme sprigs to the top of your fillets. Move them into the oven, set at 375 degrees for 12 minutes. Meanwhile, stir in your tomato paste to your veggies. Let simmer on low for 7 whole minutes. By now your filet should be done. Remove them from the oven, plate, and serve. This recipe takes a little bit longer, but based on that smell of that tomatoes, I think it might be worth it. The meat's nice and tender, flakes off nice. I like the taste of the tomatoes with the fish. It's kind of different. It's almost like a lasagna fish, if that was ever a thing. But it's fantastic. It's a good one. And this recipe and many others can be found on our website, thegreenwayoutdoors.com. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We come out with a weekly podcast, and those are great areas where you can reach out to us, let us know what episodes you'd like to see. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.